They called it a budget BioShock, a game that was full of gimmicks and nothing more than a copy of a copy. But for the few of us that played it, we knew it was much more than that. This is Singularity, Raven Software's last standalone game before being sent off to the Call of Duty factory. Hello and welcome back to Must Play Reviews. If someone was to tell me today that a game had Half-Life Style 2 puzzles, the look of BioShock, and the gunplay of Fear, I'd be like, what is it and where can I buy it? This wasn't the case back in 2010 though. For a lot of people, at this time, the critic scores mattered, and anything in the 70s was considered a bad game for the most part. And that sucks because games like this died off. These style of games were creative and they used physics for puzzles. Some of them even had time-bending mechanics and world manipulation, and Singularity was one of the best of them. It still had that classic PS2 era feel to it. The game starts off with a singularity explosion that knocks you out of the sky. It turns into a quick, strange trip to the past where you save a man that changes the entire fate of the world. It leads you down this journey of can it be fixed? You see writings left behind by yourself about who to trust and what to do, and it creates this confusion about what is going on in the game's world. Then you have these weird creepy blue guys that disappear between dimensions just so they can smack you in the face. They also like pulling explosive barrels out and chunking them at you, but with the TMD device, you can grab them out of air and throw it back just like the gravity gun in Half-Life 2. It wasn't just about copying another game, it was about inspiration to try and create something that they loved in their own unique way, and Raven Software did a great job of it. Now the big set piece in this game is the bridge encounter with a massive creature. As the bridge is being torn apart, you have to make your way across the broken remnants of your train car to a Tesla coil platform on the other side to boost the power of your TMD device so you can destroy the creature, and it is an epic battle. I always thought that the world of Singularity was interesting. Starting off as a modern era shooter, at least for 2010, then quickly turning into a destroyed world full of monsters where the Soviet Union had taken control of everything because of that one little change, taking you through the dark sewers, ruins of high-tech labs, and even getting some glimpses of it that were in perfect working condition was something that became unforgettable. And it was a game that I had to go back to after just playing Chronos: The New Dawn because there are so many similarities here. And I do have a review of it up if you want to check it out. But Singularity is much more than an underrated first-person shooter. It represents an ending. When it came out in 2010, it was that time when the industry started to take that dark turn. That PS2 era of weird, creative single-player games wasn't dying, it was being killed off by yearly releases, multiplayer map packs, and the first wave of microtransactions. I see Raven Software as the poster child for that era. They went from making games full of fun and interesting ideas to nothing more than a map maker for Call of Duty. This was their last standalone game, and even if the game had been a huge success, it wouldn't have changed things. The call of money far outweighed the idea for fun in video games at this point. So I would love to see this game get a remaster. It deserves a second chance. Right now, it is playable on PC, but it's not in the best shape. It has some serious frame rate dips, jitter, and it doesn't have any real controller support. And it's one of the reasons that I wanted to cover this game. We are in a place right now where older games are getting a new life that they never had the first time around, with better visuals and smoother gameplay. The PS3 and 360 era were filled with gems that ran like complete garbage or were just overlooked at the time. And it still feels like 90% of that generation's games are just locked away. Just think about Singularity rebuilt in Call of Duty's engine with smoother gameplay and even bringing back its multiplayer and enhancing it into something completely new. Can you imagine snatching somebody's grenade out of midair, throwing it back at them? Or if a wall gets destroyed, you can just rebuild it for instant cover. Or even the opposite, turning the floor underneath a group of enemies into rubble so they drop down and your squad can wipe them out. That would be a fun multiplayer. Singularity is one of the last great examples of that creative B-game era with that AAA heart that we just don't get anymore unless it comes from the indie market. It was a game that took inspiration from the best and it wasn't afraid to be weird. It is a bit rough on PC, but it is still a great game to play. And it is a great game to take a look back at to a time when a major studio was still allowed to be creative. You know, right before they turned the lights off and made them pack up their things and sent them off to the factory. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments, did you play Singularity back during the day, or is this the first time you're hearing about it? And as always, would you kindly leave a like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later.